Those waves are going to grab the bottom as quick as they possibly can.
There we go with the heat in the water. A bunch of Hawaiians out there in Billy Kemper, Mark Healey, Rothman, Cristian Merello from Chile, Francisco Porcella, Italy, by way of right here on Maui, and coming into this event, the young Mexican surfer, Jimel Corzo, taking Grant Twiggy Baker's spot.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Twiggy not being able to get here in time. I mean, he knew the event was happening, and he jumped on a plane, but that's part of starting on the other side of the world. To get here, you got to do it early because he could run into delays. And unfortunately, the contest has started, and a former world champion is not in the event. Grabs the bottom really quickly, and it jacks up.
Billy Kemper up. He's going to choose to go left, as well as Mark Healey behind him. So Healey down and out in the whitewater, and Kemper kicks out on the shoulder.
So already a pretty quick start. Healey, obviously, you've seen some of what he can do in his exploits throughout his career. Back in New Jersey on the Big Wave Tour.
There we go, Francisco. Great job navigating that drop. Rothman. Nice drop for Koa. Gets off the bottom, and he's going to go complete on this ride. So showing how it's done, the young Rothman kicking out in a fully complete ride. Here's how a replay of Mark Healey and Billy Kemper.
So Mark Healey looked over his shoulder, realized that he wasn't going to be able to get around the corner of the right. So he decides to go back left, basically sharing the peak. Two people can ride a wave as long as there's no interference from the guy who's sitting deepest in the lineup. Again, here is Francisco Porcella. Again, he is one of the best backsiders out here, puts in a lot of time, is not frightened whatsoever. Remember the amazing wave he had last year at Mavericks. And then the completed ride with the foam on the face from Rothman. Now this is nice to see Rothman. You remember his last time surfing the Piahi Challenge, he did one of the best body surfing waves, and he took some serious donuts, and even the Nazare Challenge, he took a 30-footer on the head.
Speaking of donuts.
And that's Jimel Corzo getting through, and there's so much energy pulling you in too that it pulls you onto the reef. So he actually was probably able to get out the back of that.
Waiting period for this Northern Hemisphere, October 15th through February 28th, as we see Rothman going left this time. And nice little ejection for the young Rothman. He opened up with a 5.5. We doubled that for 11-point ride. So now Koa has his 2 scoring waves. More waves hitting the bowl here at Piahi. Billy Kemper on the right-hander. We're going to stick with Billy, and Billy just takes a giant axe to the head there. On the left, we have Cristian Merello. And Cristian doing a good job of navigating that long left-hand wall, and he's going to go complete on that ride. So that's going to be a nice score.
More action, Kaipo. Look at this one outside.
More action as we see paddling in here.
What?
Mark Healey.
Are you kidding?
Pig dogging it and just getting eaten up. But what a tremendous effort by Mark Healey.
That's why we come to Piahi. You got the Big Wave Tour. Look at this one. Rothman, that was the wave before. This was like one of the first waves of the set, but think about this. We've already had 10 waves just in a set, one after another. Look at this drop, late tail tapper. That's committed. That's the kind of stuff the judges want to see on one of the biggest waves. Completing this ride, getting around the corner, sitting right in that zone where the wave could just eat you alive, and he keeps it together, kicks out the channel. Great score for Cristian Merello. Look at this one. This is exactly why he's a 2-time champion. But can't set that inside rail long enough to hold the inside edge. It's so, that's what I was talking about, the energy, grabbing the bottom. But look at this one. This is the replay we wanted to see. Look at that line he takes. It is unfortunate that that board wobbled as he got underneath. If he had just been able to hold that line, we would have seen probably the first perfect ride here at Piahi. That'll give you a ride. Look at this though. Look at the technique here. This is exactly what you would do if you're going to surf backdoor. And look at the line he takes. That is so cool. And he's got that arm on the rail, holding it, keeping that edge. He gets a little wobble. He's still got the line. And then there, and that was the one that knocked him off balance. That's unfortunate because he was there. He would have made that barrel. It was open. Bit of a missed opportunity, but can you blame him? Because that was pretty hard to even get in that position.
As we see back to live action.
Francisco.
And Francisco hitting a couple of bumps there and just gets bucked off.
Uh-oh, and there's a bomb behind it. He's put himself in a bad position.
So we'll keep watchful eyes on Francisco. Battling into the left. Again, Cristian Merello has been sticking to those lefts. It's been part of his game plan. He got a 7.17 on his first ride, and he's going to add to that. Almost going complete there. I thought he had that, but he's traveled quite a distance before finally getting caught up in that whitewater. Another set, another wave, scratching, up and riding. Kemper pulls into the barrel. It's a giant one. Can Billy Kemper find an exit? It spits all over the place.
Do you realize what that must feel like?
You can tell me, Peter, because you would have a better idea than I would. What does that feel like?
I don't know. Let's watch this wave and see what happens.
Looks like Rothman. Nice controlled drop for Koa. He's going to have to straighten out on this one.
Oh, the whole crew is just getting pounded right now. But I mean, look at this. This crew is on him, tracking him down, and see how far he got dragged. This was Healey.
Mark Healey up again.
Oh no! Everyone right now is just feeling it. And we touched on the fact that, well, let's take a look here. Look at underneath it. This is Francisco Porcella, and it's an unfortunate because he took the rest of this set on the head as he's not able to get around that, all that bump. I mean, it's deceiving too. There's, with this little north bump, I mean, those are 2 to 3 foot high waves on the middle of a face of a 40-foot wave. So to be able to negotiate that on a board, another great ride here for Cristian Merello. Solid set. He's able to get around the corner, ride it for a bit of time. It's unfortunate that he wasn't able to kick out with control. That part of the control is that criteria right there, loses some control. So that'll affect the score slightly.
Check this, Billy Kemper.
Knifing it off the takeoff. Let's see what happens here. Look at this barrel. He's gonna go right into it. He's in it. And it's just filled with whitewater. I don't know what you can do to make that. I mean, but it felt like don't be there, right? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Look at this.
There we go. Rothman, he's going on to slide into third place. Negotiates a giant drop. Unable to pull a bottom turn and get around that section. He just gets exploded by that giant mountain of whitewater. 6.66 is what he needed to score on that wave if he wants to bump his friend Mark Healey out of third place.
And he is still underwater, feeling like his limbs are being ripped from his body. Slam that sled right underneath your board.
Porcella, Francisco, also goofy foot. He gets around this corner, and he's looking for a completion here. So, well-ridden wave by Francisco Porcella. Wasn't enough. A 7.83 is what the Italian surfer would need.
This one knifing it on the backhand. Rothman, very similar to what we see him do at places like Pipeline. Just unfortunate that he wasn't able to keep that edge engaged. If he was able to keep that edge engaged, just like we saw Mark Healey do, he probably could have found himself in a better position. But there's a moment where you have to make that decision. Can you commit? Because the downside is you get the lip directly on the head, and you don't want that.
All eyes on the screen. Cristian Merello is going to take off on this giant left-hander. Makes his way to the bottom before just getting
He is under there, cannot breathe, and he literally come right to the surface.
Here we go. Coming off the bottom here, Mark Healey. He wants to secure his place in the semifinals. Does a good job of just knifing off the bottom there. Unfortunately, that whitewater catching up to him and just steamrolls him. Well, we got our first 3 semifinalists all set. Billy Kemper, Cristian Merello, and Mark Healey on to the semifinals. We're going to be back with more.